So we look at about 50 metrics every single day. We
Wow.
track them, we measure them, we look at attribution funnels, we look at conversion funnels, and then we optimize accordingly. So all of our decision making from a product standpoint on the website or anything that the consumer interacts with.
Welcome, Craig. So this is the second time on a podcast. Last time it was COVID time and we were on audio. Good to see you in person. The days have changed from what it was. So how does it feel to be back in action?
Yeah, hi Lijo. Thanks a lot for having me. And to anybody watching and listening, nice to see you guys. Yeah, it's always great to meet in person, man. I know the last time we spoke, it was COVID. So it was audio only, but great to be here in person. Great to be speaking with you.
Yeah, great. So the last time I spoke to Craig, my personal interest was he had a product which was very close to my heart in terms of making sure the kids don't spend much of time on the devices, because I had a son growing up. Now my son has come to a different phase of his life where I need Craig's insight even more as a consumer, where he would require a scholarship. So even before I go into that, I'll just make sure that I introduce Craig properly. I'll just read out because it's quite a long one. So Craig has been is a Dubai kid who was in the US.
Grew up in Dubai, born in Dubai, raised in Dubai.
Yeah. So he has a startup called SecureMyScholarship, where he's raised $6 million, right?
$6 million. SecureMyScholarship has dispersed $6 million in scholarships.
And your hope is to get to around $100 million as a
our mission with SecureMyScholarship is to make education accessible and affordable to all students. We do that by connecting students with guaranteed scholarships and fee waivers at our university partners. Now, because we're Dubai-based, SecureMyScholarship's base of operations is here in Dubai. We work with every single private university here in Dubai, as well as about 300 universities across the USA and the UK, all of whom have guaranteed scholarships and guaranteed fee waivers available for our students. All for free. Students don't have to pay anything. You come to our website, you apply, you find your university, you apply. Within a week, you get your offer letter with your scholarship attached, and you go ahead and you enroll. We help students save $1,000, $2,000, $10,000, $20,000 off on their university tuition, minimizing their tuition expense and making education affordable. Now, in that lens, we have dispersed $6 million in scholarships to students to date. In about a year and a half, $6 million through our platform to students from the middle class and the working class. And our mission, our North Star, is to disperse $100 million in scholarships to students through our platform.
And this $6 million in what time period?
About a year and a half.
So that's amazing. I think you'll hit 100 million much. I think you're underpitching 100 million. I think you can easily hit 100 million. That way you have been able to do it in 1.5 years.
Fingers crossed. I mean, that's our plan for the next 4 years. So by 2027, we want to get to $100 million in scholarships dispersed. Now, SecureMyScholarship is not really a not-for-profit or anything like that. Of
Absolutely.
course, we are a for-profit company. We've raised outside capital. We're currently valued at about $3 million. We're raising around right now. That should value the company at around $6 million, thereabouts, as a company valuation. But combining the revenue business side of things with social impact is sort of what is very special about this. For myself personally, as well as the core team at SecureMyScholarship, it's, I think the bunch of us that really founded SecureMyScholarship, as well as the entire team. So today, we have about 30 full-time team members at SecureMyScholarship, as well as 5 part-time team members as well. So a total team size of 35. Each and every single person that works with us at SecureMyScholarship is deeply passionate about the mission that we're on. And it's not all about, the revenue, EBITDA, applications, enrollments, website traffic, all of that stuff. Although these things are important, the numbers or the stories that we are proudest of are the stories where, we have connected a student who has lost a parent. We've connected the student with a 25% scholarship. We've helped a parent who has been unemployed for the last 8 months secure a 20% scholarship for their child. Things like that. These are stories that we care about. So merging the business and the impact side to truly create something that can not only generate millions of dollars in revenue. I mean, this year we're on course for, I think, about $2 million annual revenue in 2023. So we wanted to build a company that can not only generate millions of dollars in revenue, but also can be a force for change and good in the world. And that's what we love about Secure My Scholarship.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you have got some awards along the way while building Lock and Stock and business. Let me just call it out. Uh, 2021 Young CEO of MENA.
Yeah, so in 2021, I was named Young CEO of the Year, Middle East, North Africa at the CEO Excellence Awards. In 2019, I was named as a Future Star at the Arabian Business Awards. And yeah, those are two of the awards that we got. We also, Lock and Stock, prior to Secure My Scholarship, was named Disruption of the Year at the Gulf Capital Awards. And both Lock and Stock and Secure My Scholarship have been featured in 20, 30 media publications around the world, from CNN to Tech Radar to Mashable to Esquire, Gulf News, Khaleej Times, National, and the whole shebang. About 20, 30 PR publications. Secure My Scholarship was featured in the Gulf News just last weekend.
Yeah.
Was featured in India Today a couple of weeks back. CNBC as well covered us. So all of that stuff.
Great. So, and I think last week itself, I saw your bit, and I think you put it on your LinkedIn also, your snippet on what came out in Gulf News.
Yeah.
So that was interesting, and I said, okay, it's about the right time I get talking to Craig. So as we deep dive now into how it came out, because you were doing something else at the beginning, what was and I'm sure in terms of full happy about is not just the awards, but because it's a couple of stories that he told me, 25% to somebody who's been unemployed. So all those, I think, gives you much greater joy than these awards, I guess.
Yeah, that's the most important part, right? So I think the crux of building any startup is finding a problem that you care very, very passionately about, and then going out there and solving this problem. So for us, what drives us, at least, or what drives myself, I'll speak about myself. What drives me as an individual is the problem that we are solving and the solution that we have created to solve this problem. Now we're on a good footing. We're raising capital. We're doing a couple $1 million in revenue. We're growing at 150% year over year like clockwork. So that's all amazing now. But it wasn't always like that. 3 years ago, we made $100,000 in revenue. Today we make 2 million. Next year we'll make 5 million. So now things are very, very good. But back in the day, when we were a lot smaller and when revenue was harder to come by, we were still figuring things out. We all worked for next to nothing, right? I remember months where I was working for 500 dirhams a month or 1,000 dirhams a month. A couple of months I even took 200 dirhams in that month, whatever. And we just had to do that, right? That's just what you have to do. It's not all smooth sailing, right? Things were tough. Times were tough. For us, especially the core team, our viewpoint was that, okay, fine, even if we have to reduce our own salaries, nobody in the company, no team member, no rock star who's put their trust in us will ever have to suffer. That's why recession, no recession, COVID, no COVID, whatever, nobody has ever had their salaries delayed when working either at Lock and Stock or Secure My Scholarship. We've never furloughed any employee. We've never mass laid off any teams or anything along those lines. Because for us, it's about putting our team first. But there have been tough times, right? And in months where you may have to work for 500 or 1,000 dirhams in that month, if you're driven solely by money, right? Let's say you get into this, you want to make a quick buck, you want to make as much money as you can, then you will give up, right? If you have to work for 1,000, 2,500 dirhams for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, eventually someone, a recruiter or a headhunter is going to message you on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And I know this because I've had headhunters who've messaged me on LinkedIn. Featured on CNN, a couple of awards here and there, whatever. People tried to poach me to run their startups, offered me 30,000, 40,000 dirhams a month in terms of salary, which is great. That would be, at that point in time, it was 30x or 15x what I was making at that point in time. And if my sole motivation was the money, I would have dropped anchor, I would have dropped ship and run. I would have quit, literally. But I don't really care about how much money I make. Our viewpoint has always been, let's do the best in terms of solving the problem that we're solving, which for us is making education accessible and affordable. That's the problem that we care about. It may not be the problem that everybody cares about, but for any startup out there, find that problem that resonates with you, go out there and solve it. And for us, our viewpoint has always been solve this problem. Make education affordable, solve this problem to the best of our abilities, and the money will eventually come. But that is not our primary motivation whatsoever. It's really those stories that I told you. I know last year there was a student who had recovered from cancer who wanted to study at the University of Wollongong here in Dubai. The only problem was his insurance premiums were through the roof. So he needed help. We got that kid a 40% scholarship at the University of Wollongong to make it more affordable for him to go and study at the university that he wanted to study at. Stories like that. That's amazing. And I truly think we changed that child's life.
So what was the insight that got you started? Because you were doing a different, it was associated with the kids and like students and everything. But what was the insight that got you to pivot into this kind of a business?
So that's actually super interesting, right? So for that, just some backstory. With Lock and Stock, the Lock and Stock mobile application was basically an app that rewarded students for staying off their phones and paying attention in class.
Right.
Now, how does that work, right? You can't just tell a student, stay off your phone, pay attention. They're not going to listen, because if they were going to listen, they wouldn't need an application. They just stay off their phone.
Right.
So we were trying to convince students to stay off their phones, pay attention, take notes, learn more, in essence. And through that, if you were a student, you went to class, you locked your phone, you stayed off your phone, you collected your rewards. When you were done with class, check the application, you see how many rewards you had, and then you use your rewards to get access to offers and discounts at our partners. That was the initial value proposition that we launched with.
Right.
It went astoundingly well.
Right.
When we launched, we had 0 students on the platform and 24 brand partners offering offers and discounts. Within about 2 years' time, we had 80,000 students in Dubai on the platform. We had 1,200 partner brands all across the city. I'm talking every single major brand in the city. Zomato, Careem, Vox, Novo, Rio. They were all our partners, 1,200 partner brands in the city. And it had blossomed into the largest student lifestyle platform in Dubai, in the UAE, really. With our offers and discount section working so well, we then added other verticals in this, right? We said, okay, fine. We want to get students to stay off their phones. They're right now engaging with offers and discounts, but maybe not all students want offers and discounts. Can we give them other things? So we connected them with internships and jobs. We connected them with fee waivers and scholarships. We added other verticals along the way. Now, amongst these verticals, we actually noticed something super interesting. We were looking at our data, and from our data, we could see that the scholarships vertical that we had was blowing up.
Wow.
Because now all of a sudden, you're a student at, I don't know, our own or IHS or St. Mary's, and now you're in high school, you're in grade 11 or grade 12, and you're thinking to yourself, damn, I can stay off my phone and get 10,000 dirhams off at a Middlesex or 25% off at a Wollongong. That's crazy. And so we saw user activity blow up, per se. In October of 2021, we made the decision to take that section on the Lock and Stock application and isolate it out and build it into a standalone brand called SecureMyScholarship. So now we had 2 brands. We had Lock and Stock and we had SecureMyScholarship. This persisted for about a year and 3 months, year and 4 months, thereabouts. But actually earlier this year, we took the call to wind down operations for the Lock and Stock mobile application because we said to ourselves, wow, like we're looking at SecureMyScholarship, numbers are going through the roof. It's organically growing at 100, 200, 300% year over year just from word of mouth. And we said to ourselves, okay, this is interesting. Getting students to stay off their phones, that's important, don't get me wrong. And I think in Lock and Stock's time, while it was active, we accounted for about 2 million hours of total time saved, which is time that we put back in the hands of students, parents, teachers, educators per se, and we're very, very proud of that. But getting people to stay off their phones is important, yes, but helping make education accessible and affordable is a much larger problem. And we're seeing all of this traction. SecureMyScholarship is growing organically, and as it kept growing, it now became hungrier and hungrier for more resources and more capital. So earlier this year, we took a call to wind down operations for Lock and Stock and really focus on the Secure My Scholarship brand. It's sort of ironic when you think about it, because it's kind of like the child becoming bigger than the parent. But that's the decision that we took.
Yeah, and I'm sure that the product like this can not come through a kind of a paid or media or a media that you have to push, right? It's a pure organic word of mouth that just builds on its own. Your product is your biggest strength or biggest marketing activity. So now you just started off, right? As a product, do you look at a lot of data analytics so that you can, because there's no way you can do. I don't personally somebody pushing paid campaign kind of a thing. I somehow have distrust. It's a very tricky one, right? You should not feel that there is some monetary benefit, though it's not non for profit. But look at a lot of data analytics that makes you become sharper along the way in terms of how you approach the market.
Yeah, absolutely. So while we operate in the higher education space, and we are an edtech startup, I mean, Secure My Scholarship is a pure edtech startup. We are a technology company first and an education company second. So we look at about 50 metrics every single day. We
Wow.
track them, we measure them, we look at attribution funnels, we look at conversion funnels, and then we optimize accordingly. So all of our decision making from a product standpoint on the website or anything that the consumer interacts with is all driven by just cold hard numbers. This is actually something that we learned a long time ago, right? So we've been on this journey for a while. Lock and Stock was first founded in 2017. So we've been on this journey for a while. And on that journey, we learned a lot of very, very important lessons. We learned that in the beginning, a lot of decisions were made based on gut. A lot of decisions were made based on, I'm thinking this, okay, let's do this, whatever. But eventually, Lock and Stock itself, and then Secure My Scholarship, and now Secure My Scholarship, evolved to, okay, fine, we got to put emotions aside, we got to put the subjective aside and focus purely on cold hard facts, cold hard numbers, cold hard data, and then rock and roll accordingly. Our entire company, I think, Secure My Scholarship as a brand, and Lock and Stock before it, were both built purely on product-driven growth. Just to touch on what you said earlier, our main focus was building the best possible product and making it as good as it can be. And if we can, and our logic was, if we can solve consumer problems, right? If we can get 500 students through the door connected with scholarships at university, another 2,000 students will come. If we do that with 2,000 students, another 10,000 students will come. And from there, we grow and we grow and we grow. And today, we have thousands of students that visit Secure My Scholarship every single month from about 25 different countries around the world.
Wow.
Our biggest countries are, of course, the UAE and India. But we have students from about 20, 25 different countries every single month visiting us here at Secure My Scholarship from all over Africa, from South America, from East Asia, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And this is all on the back of just pure word of mouth, product-driven growth, and some fortuitous free PR, honestly.
Yeah, so when you start off a company like this, I'm at Lock and Stock, a lot has to be based on intuition, gut feeling. You go wrong, you're right, and you do a lot of testing along the way. And I guess that was just you building up for your next stage, which was Secure My Scholarship, right? And I'm sure that a lot of CEOs, entrepreneurs want to start, and they are also like kind of dabbling in the dark, throwing darts where it may hit or miss kind of a thing. But do you have any kind of like 3 or 4 metrics that they think that they should look at from a product or any point of view that they should be looking for to make sure that they're on the right path as much as possible?
Yeah, I mean, this all depends on the startup itself. Right? This all depends on the product itself. So the metrics that we looked at Lock and Stock were entirely different from the metrics that we look at Secure
Right.
My Scholarship. But usually, I mean, something along the lines of top of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, and then maybe a conversion stat here and there are the most important metrics per se. At the end of the day, they all have to be outcome based. I've seen a lot of people base their metrics and base their North Stars on top of the funnel type metrics, wherein that shouldn't really be the case, because those are vanity metrics. It doesn't matter if we get 1 million views a month,
Absolutely.
1 million students to our website a month, if we're not actually able to get them to apply to universities on our platform. And it's an incredibly simple process, right? We've worked very, very hard towards making Secure My Scholarship as user-friendly as possible. If you want to go to Harriet Watt in Dubai, as an example, come to SecureMyScholarship.com. There's a search bar smack dab on the homepage. You can't miss it. Type Harriet Watt over there. Harriet Watt will pop down. Select it. Go to the Harriet Watt page. Read up about Harriet Watt University. See the scholarships on offer. Click a big button that says Secure Scholarship. Fill up a form, and you're done. You don't have to leave your house. You can stay in bed and do this. It will take you 5 minutes. And within 5 minutes, you've applied to Harriet Watt, you've got your scholarship, and you're set. Within a week, our team will send you your offer letter, because of course we have to verify everything, send it to the university, they'll look at everything, then they'll send us the offer letter back. Then we send you your offer letter. Within a week, you have your offer letter with your scholarship, and can go ahead and enroll. So if we're not doing that, right, if we're not getting students to that stage where they are actually getting offer letters with scholarships or actually going on to proceed with their enrollment, then what are we really doing, right? We're measuring all these vanity metrics and that all looks great. But my biggest advice, I think, is when looking at metrics to base your North Star upon, simplify them. Don't have 1,000 metrics. I mean, we look at 50 metrics or whatever every day, but really there are 3 key metrics that we really look at. And identify like a few, 2 or 3 key metrics, make sure they are outcome based in essence.
So what forms the largest chunk of your lead generation activity in terms of people coming? Is it word of mouth? Is it paid? How does that work?
Yeah, honestly, just word of mouth and organic discovery. Most people who come, so we do run a couple of paid marketing campaigns, yes, but most of our traffic on Secure My Scholarship comes from organic visitors. And a lot of our traction comes through just word of mouth, referrals, people telling their friends, because at the end of the day, at Secure My Scholarship especially, I think the main challenge that we had to solve before and are still solving is credibility. And I'll tell you why, right?
Okay.
So it's a bit of a peculiar problem, right? So imagine you didn't know who I was, right? So you're Lijo, I'm Craig, but imagine we just met at a coffee shop randomly. And I tell you that there is this startup that will help your son go to university for free, will connect you with 10 to 20,000 dirhams off at this university for free. You don't have to pay us anything. We'll help you with application submission. We'll help you with offer letter procurement. We'll even help you with your enrollment at the end. And if you still have a problem with the scholarship, we'll fight on your behalf with the university to maximize your scholarship, which is what we do for our students. If I told you all of this at a coffee shop, we do this for free, you walk away with 20,000 dirhams, you don't pay us anything, you're going to be like, man, this guy's full of crap, right? You're going to be like, man, where's the catch, right? Because who comes to Secure My Scholarship, right? This is a platform that connects students with scholarships. The primary demographic that we deal with are students and parents that come from middle class or lower middle class or working class families. And for people that come from families from these demographics, I mean, I grew up in a middle class family, right? And from a very, very early age, I was taught there is no free lunch. So there's always a catch, be careful.
Yeah.
And this is the biggest thing that we have to combat, right? Because when we try to speak to people, when we position the brand, people are always just like, are you guys for real? What's the catch? And a lot of question marks around there. So that's why referrals actually play a huge role in just our growth and driving our viral loop in essence. Because if a student actually goes through the process, now they're like, okay, these guys are legit. And now they're going to tell their friends, their family, anybody in their circle, maybe their parents, tell their friends, etc., etc., etc. And that drives our viral loop.
Yeah. So do parents play a bigger role in decision making? Because kids are now very aware, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sure it's a kind of a joint decision. By the time the kids require scholarship, the kids are very mature and they are much more aware of what are the options out there. Who are your primary audience? Is it parents or is it kids or is it a mix of both?
So that's actually very interesting. It's interesting that you asked that actually because we ran a survey last year. We surveyed about 10,000 students in Dubai specifically. And we asked them a very, very simple question. Who makes the decision on what university you want to go to? Is it you? Is it your parents? Or is it the both of you? And the results were surprising to some, not surprising to others. About 60% of respondents, 60% of students said that they are the main decision maker in terms of which university to go to. Another 30% said they and their parents collectively, collaboratively make the decision.
Okay.
And then another 10% said their parents make the decision for them. So that's super interesting. And even this is from a survey that we ran, but even from just qualitative discussions that we have with students, where we ask them just open-ended questions like how did you come to this decision? How did you make this choice? Why do you want to go here? Oftentimes, students will select the university and then give it to their parents. If their parents can afford to pay the tuition,
Right.
parents are okay. And the parents will pay the tuition. If the parents can't, then the student goes and looks for other universities. But it's oftentimes the student doing his or her own research, then providing the parent with a couple of options. Parent then says, okay, fine, we can afford this. And the student goes ahead.
So I guess a lot of the students' decision making could be like, what are the close friends, and the friends kind of.
Definitely. You're absolutely right on that. Especially here in Dubai, if a student went to school in Dubai and is then looking to go to university in Dubai itself, one of the biggest factors that impact decision making is where are my friends going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now Dubai being because you're Dubai-based company, but I'm sure that there's a whole sea out there, right? Europe, the Americas, North America, where you can. So is it part of your growth plan to acquire universities over there? Are you looking for partners to go through, or are you looking or approaching at universities directly? Because Dubai is a big. You have also just gone to the US and studied, right? Or you
Yeah.
went to your graduation years were in the US, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's a considerable population that goes to the US to other countries now, maybe Europe and Spain and other Eastern European countries. So is that part of your growth plan to look at those universities?
Right. So right now we work with a network of universities in Dubai, in the USA, and the UK. Right. So here in Dubai, we work with every single private university in Dubai. We work with about 300 universities across the USA and the UK. From a university standpoint, I think the low-hanging fruit are probably some of the more popular education destinations, which are Australia, Canada, maybe in New Zealand, maybe Ireland, something along those lines. But really, our focus area is not on the destination because those markets are very, very big. Our focus area is on the source. So here in Dubai, Dubai is where SecureMyScholarship was born and bred, right? It came of age here in Dubai. Here in Dubai, we are the largest education marketplace, bar none. We enroll more students from Dubai into Dubai universities than any other organization, bar none. We work with every single university in Knowledge Village, in Academic City.
Right.
And we're the largest education marketplace here in Dubai. A lot of our focus in terms of growth has been, yes, to grow our base here in Dubai. We're already rather big, but there's still room to grow. So we want to grow our base here in Dubai. But aside from that, we want to focus our attention on India.
Right.
Now, India sends more students overseas than every other country in Asia combined, excluding China. If you remove China, every other country in Asia combined. Almost 1 million students will go overseas. And even that is a small subset of the overall population that turns 18 every year. 12 million Indians turn 18 every year, 1 million Indians go overseas. So that, while 1 million is very big, it's growing very rapidly as well because it's only 10% of the overall population that is turning 18. We have been working very, very hard to expand our operations in India. We have support staff team members in Mumbai, Pune, Surat, New Delhi, Hyderabad, and Cochin, and we are adding more and more cities. We will add more and more cities in the months and year to come. I think by this time next year, we want to be in about 15 cities all over India. But India is one of our key growth markets, not just in driving students to the USA and the UK, which are the traditional destinations, but also bringing them here to Dubai as well.
Yeah, I guess over the last couple of years, Dubai as a location has kind of gathered some steam, and with the golden visa being given to people who are well educated, I think that's a good initiative that I think will bring results in a few years' time, where it can be a choice of destination of education, just like Singapore had become at one point of time and still is.
Yeah, I think Dubai is on course to replacing Singapore. I think Singapore, so I went to Singapore a couple of months back actually, and the key problem that they have in Singapore, just from my own personal opinion, is that they are space constrained, right? Singapore, city state, whatever. There's no space to grow. Here in Dubai, there's lots and lots of land. So you see sprawling campuses. I know the University of Birmingham just opened a 6,000 student capacity campus in Academic City. It is absolutely amazing. De Montfort opened, and these are all in the last 1-2 years. De Montfort University opened a 4,000 capacity student 4,000 student capacity campus in Academic City as well. Harried Ward, Wollongong, all about new campuses. And these guys are all making huge investments. These things are not possible in Singapore, which is why I think Dubai will overtake Singapore as the premium, non-traditional higher education destination per se, especially for students from South Asia. But I think another thing played more in Dubai's favor than the golden visa per se. I think Dubai's handling of the COVID pandemic earned it a lot of credibility,
Right.
especially in the near abroad. In the wider Middle East, in Africa, in South Asia, a lot of people said, wow, like Dubai is open for business, Dubai is booming, Dubai is bustling. So a lot of things happening in this city. And I personally have seen that. In the last couple of years, there's been a gold rush in Dubai. So many people have moved to Dubai, so much of capital flowing into the city. I personally am very, very bullish on the future of Dubai and Dubai's startup ecosystem. So fingers crossed on that.
On that awesome note, I'm sure that there is and what about Saudi? I mean, is Saudi a market that is a place where you attract students for UAE, or is still not, or do they still prefer the West out there?
So in Saudi Arabia, most students who go overseas are actually government funded, so they don't really require any assistance. There is a market that comes to Dubai, and Saudi Arabia is an area that we are looking at. Not just Saudi, but the GCC, I think. So Oman,
Yeah.
Saudi, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait. The GCC is an area that we want to look at, we want to pay more attention to. But there are a whole host of complex challenges over there, right? So localization, you need to be more Arabic. You need to have your interface more Arabic oriented for those markets compared to Dubai, right? In Dubai over here, I want to say 98% of students that go through SecureMyScholarship are expat students. Could be from the Middle East. We see a lot of students from Jordan, Lebanon, Egypt that go through SecureMyScholarship. But of course, primarily here in Dubai, Indians, Pakistanis, Sri Lankans,
Right.
Bangladeshis, Filipinos. And so our entire website is in English, and that just works, right? So-
Maybe over a period of, because I used to work with maybe some decent, as you said, most of his solution is for the middle class and the lower middle class kind of people who are struggling to get it across. So I guess maybe countries like Nigeria, countries like South Africa, where there's a decent English speaking population and is still in the need of trying to get scholarship and go up in the life, does exist.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. When we look around the world, countries like Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nigeria, these are very, very attractive destinations. But for us, again, I come back to what I said earlier. When we look at like a Nigeria, for example, Nigeria, about 200 million odd people, I think, or thereabouts.
Yeah.
But aside from Nigeria is very far away and it has its own complex challenges. There's a lot of graft and it's trickier, whatever, in Nigeria. But when we look at that, 200 million population, okay, fine, that sounds good. Maharashtra, I think, is 140, 150 million.
Yeah.
And so from our point of view, and because India is a place that we understand, right? So I am Indian by nationality. My parents are Indian. I was born in Dubai, raised in Dubai, but my parents are Indian. I've been to India all my life. And not just myself, the entire core team is Indian based. So for us, we understand India, we understand its intricacies, we understand how India works per se. And what I've always learned, so when we launched Lock and Stock in 2017, a lot of the times people would ask me, why did you come back from America and launch Lock and Stock? Why didn't you just do Lock and Stock in the United States, right? Because it was a possibility. I graduated from university in May, my undergrad degree. I was 20 years old at the time. I graduated in May of 2017, came back in June, we incorporated in July, and we launched in September. That's it, literally. And a lot of people would ask me, why didn't you do this in America itself? But again, like something that I think is important, when you're doing anything new, right? When you're looking to launch a startup, tech-enabled startup, or really actually any company in general, right? You look at the mortality rate, and that will tell you all you need to know, right? For a normal business, 40% of new companies die in their first year, which is crazy. For a tech-enabled business or a startup, tech startup, whatever, the number skyrockets to 90%. 90% of tech startups die in their first year. These are absolutely ludicrous mortality rates, and no logical person should ever launch any company or any startup per se. But if you are, you maximize your odds of success if you minimize complexity. If you keep things simple, if you operate in industries or sectors or with products or in environments that you understand. Here in Dubai, I understood Dubai. I didn't really understand America. I mean, I went there for university, but I was studying in the Midwest, whatever. I didn't really understand America, right? Not enough, at least, to launch a company over there. I understood Dubai. So Dubai, perfect launchpad. I knew people here. I had a network over here. These things help. The same thing helps with India as well as we look to expand over there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure, and I think over the last 5-6 years, since you chose Dubai as a location, Dubai has kind of skyrocketed in the global perception of a place to settle down in, start business. And of course, I personally feel that the startup environment can be much more aggressive than what it is today. The enablers can be much more stronger. But because of COVID, lots of things has fast tracked to what it has been today. So all the best for your future with Secure My Scholarship. I'll be in touch with you because of my son personally. Irrespective of what happens or this thing, because there's a cusp of requiring some help around that. We have not really decided. As you said, the survey, 60% the kids decide. So that's a good insight on how he may come to me and say, this is what I want to do. More than hope. I think as parents, as you would have changed, like our generation has also changed in how maybe this statistics would have been completely different 30 years back, 40 years back. It's changed drastically. And you're on cusp of all the data that you get in consumer knowledge. So all the best, Craig, in reaching $100 million ASAP, much faster than the next 4 years, and see you around.
Thank you so much for having me, Lijo. Fingers crossed. I think if we can reach $100 million in scholarships dispersed, I think we'll go on to change the lives of tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people around the world. So fingers crossed on that. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. Thanks to everybody who listened into this podcast. If you need to reach me, please find me on LinkedIn. I'm not on any other social media, unfortunately. So you can find me on LinkedIn, Craig Fernandez. Find me, connect with me. If you have an idea, or if you're a young startup, if you're a young entrepreneur, you're a young startup, connect with me, drop me a DM. Always happy to help. Always happy to get on a call, share some advice. If you need to find us, www.securemyscholarship.com. Find your guaranteed scholarship for free. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.